Hello, you guys. So, today I'm shuffling and we're going to do a healing message. I was going to do, I'm supposed to be doing starseed messages, but I'm just not quite ready for them. And my guides understand that. So, they actually gave me, oh my gosh, yesterday, they gave me so many things to talk about for healing because they know that I'm all about healing and helping the collective find healing. So they was like, okay, just do 2 healing messages this week. That's what we're gonna do. So I'm just shuffling, and one of the healing the aspect of healing we're going to talk about today is triggers. Um, One of the first things I learned with triggers is if it triggers you, it's something that you need to look at. It's something that you need to heal. So if it triggers you, you need to heal it. It's something you need to heal, or something you need to reflect on or observe. You need to come to terms with it. Why does it trigger you? Going back to the why. Why is this happening? Why am I feeling this way about this? Why? And no, it might not go away, because when you heal, you don't, it's not about, sometimes in healing, it's not about fixing the problem or ignoring the problem or getting rid of the problem. It's about facing the problem and finding ways to either live with it or to balance it or to make it into a different aspect, or seeing it in a different light, right? So that's one aspect on healing, and when you're trying to heal and that going after that trigger, or looking at that trigger, or observing that trigger, we need to do that. So that's one thing. I'm not pulling cards yet. I'm just shuffling, doing some pre-shuffling while I'm talking about what we're going to be pulling cards on. Okay, and it's about triggers. And so those are the things that, when I came to terms with it, one, it was okay, if it triggers me, then it's something I need to look at. It's something I need to heal. And then secondly, looking at it as, okay, I'm not trying to fix this, or I can, if it is something I can fix, okay, I'll fix that. But if it's something I need to integrate, or something I need to work with, or I need to reflect on and just have to learn how to work with it in certain times of my life, I have to do that, right? Coming to that point as well. And then a third thing I want to touch on with the triggers is the whole, and I know I might get flack for this, but it's when people get triggered, they're like, I'm triggered. You need to stop doing that. I'm triggered. You need to stop doing that. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. But when are you going to take responsibility for that trigger? I understand when it's a child or even a teen, because it's harder for them to understand that and heal from that. So they need to go through some things to heal that. But when you come to an age when you're an adult and you can do the healing and you can do that, and you're saying, I'm triggered. Okay, then why? Why are you triggered? Why is this triggering you? And you can go into your explanation, and the person is doing that. But sometimes we're triggered by some things that just you need to reflect on and heal. Like, and I'm not saying I don't get triggered. I do get triggered. I got triggered. I got this triggered this past freaking weekend, and I had to deal with. I was like, oh, why am I triggered? And so I had to go into my why, and like, oh, because I was triggered about something, and I know that I'm empathic, and so I do take on a lot of energy, and I know how to transmute that energy, and I know, oh, that's not my energy, that's someone else, and I know how to, ground that and put that back, send that back out, and cleanse that out. I know how to do that, and so I get a lot thrown at me, and I'm fine with that, and because that's part of beauty of being connected to the divine, is that you have that energy, that you can integrate that. And when you do heal, you can do those types of things. And that's why I'm here, is so that I can give you those things that those wonderful things that I got, and I can pass those on to other people so that they can do the same thing for themselves, right? Um, so my thing is when you get triggered, you have to stop and observe, okay, why am I triggered? What's going on? What do I need to face? What is this? Where's this coming from? And going back and going through it. And even just accepting it. Okay, right now I don't have, and sometimes you don't have the time to, you might get triggered and then you're like, okay, I'm just going to walk away from this. And that's fine because you might not have time to work with that trigger. And that is perfectly fine. But you need to go back to it later on and say, okay, when you have time, saying, why did that bother me so much? Why was I so upset about that? Why did that bring me to my knees? Why did that make me cry? Why did I just want to run, or why did I want to punch the wall? All of those things. Why did those come up? Well, we're going to have to go back and see what they are. So knowing all these, knowing the three things I just said, I want to work with those three things because those are the three things that I love to come into when I'm tapping into what triggers me, because I get triggered too. Yes, I do. I'm not perfect. I'm not on some high horse saying, "Oh, I'm so all healed." No, I'm not. I get triggered too. I have traumas and crap too, just like anyone else. But the thing is I'm willing to face them and look at them and say, "Okay, what is this?" And okay, I don't have the time for it because I'm busy doing something. I'm in the middle of something. Maybe I'm busy with my kids and I'm just like, oh, I don't have the time to sit back and, because I have to do stuff with them. So yes, we all have those times we're busy. We can't just give into, okay, sitting back and healing that. But you have to come back to it. You do have to face it. You can't just keep running from it. You do have to look at it. And that's what we're going to look at with the cards and see what comes up for the collective, okay? So I've already done my protection, my cleansing. We got it going on. And actually, I'm going to pause it, and my candle went out. I'm going to do my candle and get the camera on the table, and we'll get started, okay? All right, you guys. So first, we're going to start with Heal Yourself, the reading cards, and so I want to get a couple of these to see what triggers might be coming up, see if any triggers are coming up for the collective. What can we talk about? What are some triggers that the collective could look at and talk about? Well, we have sexual arts. To me, that, you know what I heard? I am just going to say it. And then we have unleash your creativity. So I have, and those are in the 30s. So I have a 33 and a 31. So we have a lot of threes here, right? In which 3 is a creative energy. It's the energy of the Empress as well. So it's an abundant, creative, coming together energy. But I feel with that fire down below with this one, to me, something is triggered with. There's a couple of things. Someone's triggered with their sexuality. Someone's triggered when it comes to their sexuality or people around them. And then we also have triggers of something is triggering you to be, and I'm just going to say it, as a sex addict, because that's what came up to me, is sex addiction. Is from a trigger from some other trauma, okay? And so it's triggering into having sex addiction, and that's what I'm getting from that. I don't know why. And I feel like it's trying to say with this, unleash your creativity, is it could be two things here. It could be, instead of putting that energy into always seeking pleasure from someone else, because if you see something, we have those threes, and I remember I said it's like coming together, and we have a 31, and that one is you. And so instead of focusing on coming together with someone, it's putting that energy into something that is creative for you. Like, what is one of your creative outlets? Is it creating music? Is it creating poetry? Is it creating, painting? Is it, what fills you creatively? Is it gardening? Is it baking? It could be anything. And saying, put that energy towards that, towards another creativity besides this energy over there, and cleansing this out. Okay? And then another message I'm getting, oh, those just flew out at me. Thank you. Another thing I'm getting from the creativity is you're triggered by a creative expressions that other people have because you won't create yourself. Instead of focusing on someone else's thing that they create on, you should create yourself, and that would help you. It would help you not focus on someone else's creativity, but focus on your own creativity. And that's a way to look at that. So I was called to pull out my freaking one cards, and I got this. I got enlightenment and one more, please, or whatever you want to give me. What do you want me to have? Oh, you gave me a couple. So, it's getting enlightenment on. I feel like it's getting. This is like a light. This enlightenment is on getting information on how you can feed that energy to something else. And then seer. I have seer that came out, and to me, seer is saying that a seer sees beyond what is in front of them. They can, and that might be your creative energy that you're supposed to be tapping into, is your seer energy. You are a seer, and so you're supposed to be tapping into that so you can expand that creative energy. And then we have energy. So yes, the energy you're supposed to be tapping into is your creativity, as how you could enlighten yourself to stuff, and how you can expand your seer stuff. And I got teacher. So getting a teacher, getting someone that can mentor you, or even teaching others by the things that you have mastered, something that you're in your creative field. So maybe you have some creative field that, say you do, I don't know, like woodwork. Say you have mastered woodwork, and taking that creative energy and pouring that into someone else, teaching someone else about woodwork. I'm creating a class about woodwork because that was something you hobby and you loved it. And so putting that energy there. Okay? So that's the place you can put your energy. Then I got be curious. So with this be curious card, I feel like it's saying, so be curious about what you want to, create, what you want to go out there and do. I know I'm really curious. I have that curiosity to child. That's one thing about me. I'm very curious about so many things, and not just spirituality things. I'm curious about math. I'm curious about science. I'm curious about animals, and I'm curious about wanting to, do stuff for the planet. I'm curious about, health, general health, physical health. I'm curious about that. I'm curious about candle making. I'm curious about baking and cooking. I'm curious about planting and gardening. I am curious about a lot of things. I'm curious about animals. I love animals. I'm curious about all of those things. I'm curious about traveling the world and, different places and knowing about those different places. I have a lot of curious things. I'm curious about history and ancient civilizations. Be curious. Don't just stop at one thing. Just because I do, come on here and talk about spirituality stuff doesn't mean I'm not curious about other things. I have a lot of curiosity, and I can tap into those things when I'm like, oh, I'm going to go tap into this. I'm curious about, different religions. That goes to spirituality, but every religion has its own thing. I'm curious about I'm going to make a video of it sooner or later because I've been sitting on it for a couple years now, about how things are. I got it in a dream. Someone taught it to me. I don't know who this person was in the dream. They taught me about this, and they had a chalkboard, and I was sitting there, and they told me about it. So I'm going to make a video on it. But and it all connects to all the things that I just talked about being curious about. Okay, so be curious, and maybe it's telling you. Also with this being curious, since I'm sitting it down on top of this on sexual arts, maybe being more not if you are, say you are putting that energy into a sexual stuff. Maybe you need to be curious about learning different practices that are out there. Maybe you need to get curious in that instead of just going and connecting with people sexually all the time. Go in there and learn things about the body and, different ways that different cultures do different things and learning about those instead. Okay? And then I have wake up to who you truly are. This is perfect because it feels like that sits over there about being curious, and this sits over here and waking up who you truly are. And this goes with that freaking enlightenment here. And getting a teacher and unleash your creativity. I think you can unleash who you truly are is through your creativity and what you love. I don't know why. I want to grab another whatever. They want me to grab some cards. I won't take these because they're threw about 10 of them on the floor. I'm going to grab some more of these. So say things are triggering you with other people's creative projects. We're going to go with that. The thing is why? Why does their creative project trigger you? Why does their creative work trigger you? Or what they're doing. It's something that someone else is doing that they pour their creativity in that triggers you. And I got mercy. And so my thing is if you're on this path of wanting to see why, I can't stand this person. Why are they doing that? Okay, that's their creativity. So why we need to go back and see why someone else would trigger you. So what in that person triggers you? Is it something they're doing that you want to do and that you're too afraid to do that's triggering you? Or is it something in your childhood where maybe you were told that you shouldn't do that, and that's why it triggers you, because it reminds you of that moment? So it could be any of those things. You have to go back. I won't know what it is. You have to go back and say, okay, is this person reflecting something that I want and I don't do it, and so it triggers me? Or is it I go back and I say, okay, there was something in my childhood and I was told that it was wrong, and so it triggers me when someone else is doing it? Or is it something that I tried to do and I failed at it and it triggers me? So it could be any of those things, right? So I'm going to get some tarot out. I'm going to get whatever these cards are, and then I'm going to pull from the other one. So I got Queen of Coins and Death. So I feel with this Queen of Coins energy right here, I feel it's saying, Queen of Coins, Queen of Pentacles, it's being comfortable in your own skin. You kind of see how she's just energy. How she's just in her own comfort zone, She is in her own, she feels good about herself. She's in, you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of the Garden of Eden, because she's truly in a garden, and she's comfortable and she's grounded, and then she has this snake around her, and so she knows how to, remember I was talking about learning how to transmute the energy and shedding things, and that's what the snake is transmuting things that come in that don't don't fit with you, and shedding those and letting those go and releasing those and being comfortable in every step that you take forward, every place that you are, and being in this constant, abundant, rich energy. Okay. Also, because of the Queen of Coins is would be stand for Capricorn. You could be a Capricorn or somewhere in your chart. It and that snake could be there too, because that snake could, Capricorn is devil energy. So we can look at it like that. What is something the devil is restricting, and that devil is within you. What is that's coming up with inside you? Okay. And this, with this death card, you need to find an end to it. You need to let it come to an end. You need to release it, and you need to start anew. That death is that rebirth energy. It's that energy of, okay, this no longer works for me. This thought pattern, these what I'm throwing out on people, this trigger is no longer working for me. So it's time for me to bring this to an end, and also, I like this mercy here. I'm gonna put it here with this death, because it's saying, be gentle with yourself as you're releasing this, as you're letting go, and as you're transforming into a newer energy, into bringing something different in. So have mercy, have grace for yourself. Be gentle during that time. During times of transformation, for sure, you have to. And when you're transmuting and transforming energy and shedding stuff, you definitely have to have compassion, mercy, grace for yourself. I've noticed I can have that energy for others, but I have a hard time for myself. And so sometimes we have to be reminded that we have to have that energy for ourselves as well. Okay. So for some reason I was like, I'm going to get another card, and then all of a sudden I hear, with closing arguments. I don't know, something about law and closing arguments. Okay, I guess this is my closing argument. My closing argument brought me 3 cards. Why? We have the Emperor, we have the 8 of Swords, and we have, love these 8s. Don't we just love these 8s? And then we have an 8 of Wands, which is interesting because the Emperor is a 4. And we can break these 8s down to 4s too. So, yeah. Wow. What is, that's 13. 13 makes, oh my gosh. Yeah. 13 makes 4. So 4 is an important number. And I think that is foundation. Breaking up your foundation, looking at your foundation. So some of you, what's triggering you right now is your foundation, is your stability, is what you thought was your, stability, what was your grounding, what was your, your foundation. That foundation, we built, sometimes in life we come up with this whole foundation, and that's what this Emperor is. He comes in and he's like, okay, things are going to be this way. We have this strong foundation, and this is how it's going to be. He comes in with that energy, right? But something is triggering your foundation. What's triggering to your foundation? Is your foundation not stable? And this 8 of Swords is telling me there's something in there that's in your foundation that you feel like is restricting. Again, remember devil energy, that you feel is restricting, that's holding you back. And it's something within your thoughts and the way you talk to yourself. Remember, having mercy on yourself. As you change, you can't be thinking all in your head, being very cruel to yourself. If you look, you can kind of see one of her arms is cut off. So you're self-inflicting harm to yourself with your thoughts. This is self-inflicting. And this Emperor, he is looking to the past, looking at all the things that maybe he built his foundation on, and he's like, oh my God, that was wrong. And so you have all this, you're wounding yourself with your words, with your thoughts. And instead of that, you need to have mercy and compassion to yourself. And instead of that, go with this energy, this Eight of Wands. Let healing come out of you. If you can see, there's stars, so it gave me that star energy, and different parts of our brain it works with different things. So putting out in the universe things that are for your highest good, that are going to help, settle your mind and calm your mind. Putting out, and you don't have to be like this toxic positivity. No, you don't have to be that. But, transferring some of those things that you're saying to yourself, you look at them and say, you know what, I don't have to say that to myself. I can say this. And you know what, maybe I am like that for now, but I'm going to give myself a little love and a little mercy and a little compassion and say, okay, yes, I am doing this, and I do have this problem, but I can self-grace, and I can give myself some love and compassion and say, you know what, I'm going to try to do this instead, and I'm going to work with this instead, and I'm going to give myself a grace period to work with that and be a better me. Okay, so I'm going to reach over here because I was called to, and I'm going to, I don't know why, I don't use this often, but I got it because it kept calling me to buy it. I did. So I'm going to get an oracle card to end us with, and that will be the end of our reading. Okay, so I hope this helped someone, look at their triggers in a different way and help them come to terms with them as well. Okay, so we have Queen Mother Nanny, and it says liberation. And I'm going to actually look in the book because I don't know who she is truly. And I love it because I went to this page right before her, which was the Queen of Sheba, which I do know the Queen of Sheba. But the Queen Mother Nanny is was a spiritual leader. Remember we talked about teacher, a military strategist. This Ashanti healer was brought to Jamaica in chains and escaped to lead rebellions. She helped freed over 800 enslaved people. And it says, break free. Your dreams hold the power and the keys to your liberation. You are freedom herself. Rise up. Remember I was saying you change yourself with this devil energy right here, this Capricorn energy with this Queen of Coins, that because some of that was coming out, and also with this Emperor being restrictive. But right here you're hurting yourself. It says you deserve to feel free. What do you imagine for yourself? Daring to manifest your dreams is part of your personal liberation. Find your own personal liberation codes in your soul's unspoken desires. Life is too short to live within someone else's story. Okay? So, write your own story. That's what I'm saying. Write your own story. Heal yourself. Face your triggers. And if you can't do it right away, that's fine. But take maybe 10 minutes a day to sit with yourself. Write them out. Meditate to them. Do something that's going to help you help heal yourself. And that's why I'm here, because I want to find a beautiful way for the collective to tap in to growing and healing and really rising up to the best of their selves and to their highest self as well. Okay? Thank you guys so much for being here. If you enjoyed this, if you have any comments, go for it. You can whatever you want to do. Thank you guys so much for being here. Have a great day. Bye.